Hello everyone, Rurikhan here coming at you with another video, and today we're going to be talking about inFamous Second Son. Now, inFamous Second Son, as many of you guys are probably aware, is going to be one of those big titles that's coming for the PlayStation 4 exclusively on the 21st of March. And it is definitely one of those titles that a lot of people are getting hyped up about because it's got amazing looking graphics, amazing looking animations, and it's looking to be a truly next-gen experience for the console. So obviously, this is one that a lot of people are looking out for. And last Friday, I was invited by PlayStation Portugal to go over there and check out a very early demo of the game. Now, this demo was very basic. It gave us a couple of cinematics, just to get an idea of what's the quality that we can expect from this title, like the visual quality, as well as the animations quality that we're going to be getting, and some of the basic mechanics of the game that we're going to be playing on the 21st of March. And I have to be honest, I hadn't really played the title before. I can't say that I was surprised because I kind of expected it to be pretty decent since I've played the first inFamous title. I never really had a chance to play the second one due to lack of time, but I do own it and I do plan on getting to it hopefully before the 21st of March. Maybe I'll do a live stream out of it. What do you guys think? But anyways, focusing right back on the actual topic at hand, I got to test it out, and it was a lot of fun. Like, there's a lot of stuff in that game that is looking like, how should I put this? It is just looking very fluid, which was something that we've come to expect from inFamous titles. The combat is very fluid. You can very quickly switch between ranged and melee, and you can also switch the powers that you're using, because in the very first trailer, we only really saw one power, which was, I think we all assumed it was fire, but in reality, they actually refer to it as smoke, because you can actually like transform into a cloud kind of, and do these dodge moves that your character moves really, really fast. He basically disintegrates himself and then reforms himself. There's a lot of particle effects in the game, as you can probably tell by the trailer going on in the background. There's just a lot of stuff. So let's get started. First of all, the two powers that I've got to try out were smoke and neon. Now, neon is more about movement speed, getting a lot of agility in your character, because when you dodge using neon, your character just moves at lightning fast speeds, climbs up walls, does all kinds of crazy stuff. So it's really about speed. And then it's also about more precise ranged combat, because on the demo that we played, the neon power actually had no melee combat. Now, I'm not saying that there's not going to be melee combat for neon, but it seems like they're trying to separate the playstyle so that neon is more like a run and gun kind of thing. So you can, like, shoot really fast, shoot precisely, and then just dodge around, climb up buildings, and just do all that kinds of crazy stuff. Whereas smoke is more about close quarters, and the shooting in smoke seems to be a little bit less precise. And smoke also has like this thing that you can charge up and does like almost like a shotgun type of ability that just shoots multiple fireballs off of your hand. And they also had one extra ability. They had some things in smoke that weren't implemented in neon yet. Like smoke had more abilities, so it seemed to me like the either you're going to be able to upgrade the powers in different ways, or maybe neon hadn't been as further developed for that particular demo as in the final version of the game. Because like I said, in neon, you couldn't actually engage in close quarters combat, whereas with smoke, you could do close quarters combat. You also had another ability, which is a smoke grenade, and at the very end of the demo, you're actually able to do this really cool looking ability from the smoke power, which is called the Karma Bomb. And that, if you guys have seen the trailer, is the ability where he just like flies all the way up into the air, then does that little smile thing for the camera, like, and then just like turns down and blasts everything in like a mile radius or something like that. We get to do that at the end of the demo in a boss fight. So apart from that, one of the really cool things about neon is the fact that it lets you run through walls. And as you're running through walls, it leaves behind these light trails. And those light trails are really cool. Like I said, the graphics just look amazing. Then smoke, since it doesn't allow you to actually run through walls, there's a couple of vents that they've placed on buildings. Like on the ground section, you can actually just like, I don't know how to say this, teleport. Not really teleport, but you basically disintegrate yourself, go through the go through the vent and then wind up at the very top of the building where the vent basically there's an exit to the vent. So it's kind of cool. You just like go from the bottom of a building to the top of a building, you know, a little bit of traversal. So traversing the map was very satisfying. You could also glide in the air with smoke. Kind of like what you already did in the very first inFamous. If you guys remember, like he would do the thing where he would put his hands down and he would, like, lightning would come off of his hands and he would glide a little bit. You do that with smoke. If you do that with neon, neon just makes you like dash forward in the air, which is also really cool. If you dash against the building, you just run up the walls. There's, like I said, traversing the game seems to be really fun at the moment. Albeit, I think it's not finalized yet, and I'm actually suspicious that there might be additional powers. I'll tell you guys more why at the end of the video. So how do you get to pick between smoke and neon? If you guys remember, there was a mechanic in inFamous where you basically had to constantly drain electricity so that you could do your special abilities and all that other jazz. And in this game, it's going to be similar, but depending on what you are draining, that is going to be the power that you're going to be switching to, at least in the demo that we were playing. So for instance, if you go up to a neon sign, you start draining neon from that, you're going to channel the neon power and you're going to be recharging it. Now, they didn't really show us like health bars or charge bars of the powers, anything like that. In the demo, you were invincible so that we could just like fool around and figure stuff out. And you guys might be wondering, so that means the game isn't going to be that much challenging since they just let you run around the demo invincible. Of course, in the final version of the game, you're not going to be invincible. And to be honest, from what I saw in the demo, I think it's going to be pretty damn challenging because there were several situations like even though they didn't let you die, they would show you when you were about to die by you know, the screen starts going gray, that usual thing that you see in a lot of games. So they would do that, and I'll tell you, there were a lot of times that I was just like, you know, going balls out, and I would instantly get shot to the point where I'd be like, oh, you're about to die. So I was like, huh, seems there's a little bit of challenge in there, which is something that obviously, as you guys are aware, was very, very pleasing to me because you guys know that I love the challenge in video games. So that was definitely good to see. Then, as I was saying, you drain neon from neon lights, and there's smoke sources throughout the game, like on top of buildings, like there would be chimneys and something like that, and you can drain smoke from there, and then it will switch you onto your smoke power. Now, I assume that in the final version of the game, you're going to have to constantly be draining power the same way that you have to do in inFamous, even though in the demo we didn't really have to do that. Everything was just pretty much unlocked from the get-go. So that's going to be an interesting dynamic, like do I want to go neon? Do I want to go smoke? Or maybe even more powers. I'm almost certain that there are going to be more powers. The graphics were looking amazing. The animation work was really, really good. The particle effects also looked amazing. As you guys are probably aware, something that the PlayStation 4 is doing quite a bit is particle effects. It just looked really good. We had a couple of slow ups in some of the cinematics. Like I noticed the frame rate dropping, but I assume that's because the demo isn't really well optimized yet. And why should it? It's a demo, so let's be honest there. The combat was extremely fluid. Like you could effortlessly switch between targets. Like there wasn't any hard lock, which also wasn't the case in the inFamous that I played. You could just switch between targets whenever you want it. You will definitely have to do a lot of dodging though. There's no block button or anything like that. And if you want to go to close quarters a lot, you're going to have to depend a lot on your dodge, which, like I said, if you do it in smoke, like your character disintegrates itself and charges either forward or whichever direction that you choose. And there was also something that I did, which was if you would charge onto an enemy using the dodge, and then you would press the attack right at the end, and you would be on top of an enemy. He would also do like a takedown, which was pretty sweet. I didn't see any of that in Neon. Like I said, Neon seemed to be there just to kind of like showcase that there is more powers besides smoke. But like the real cool stuff was in the smoke power. Now, something that I was also able to tell from the demo was from the way that the character reacts. It was pretty cool. I like the character's attitude. He's kind of humorous and rebel. So I like that kind of a character. It kind of appeals to me. And I think that some of this probably already comes out through the trailers. You can kind of tell his attitude, even from the soundtrack of the game. I mean, you can tell that this is going to be like a rebel type character. But I just thought it was really neat. I hadn't really seen I think there's a trailer that has this particular scene in it, but I hadn't seen any, which is there's a scene where we're going through a like a metro thing, and it's like, oh, put your finger here, and like you have to do this thing with the touchpad. And once you do that, an alarm goes off and says, oh, conduit detected, and whatever. And just all these guards pop up, and they start looking at you. And your character goes like, best out of 3. So like you wanted to try 3 more times to do the thing. It was funny. I just thought it was funny, and his attitude as he's talking to someone that he's talking with. That I guess it's important for the story. He's communicating with someone through a headset or something, and their dialogue kind of tells you a lot about how humorous and rebel the character is. Now, something that I also noticed is that there's a really cool physics engine in this game that allows for a lot of the structures. Like, for instance, there were all of these structures erected in the city, like towers, and even some of them were like, how should I put this? There was like 2 towers and then like a bridge connecting both of those towers. And so if you want to do things like neatly, you can snipe your enemies from far away using neon, or you can go up and close, jump on top of that tower, start killing dudes. Or if you want to do things dwarven style, you can just go up to the towers and tear those suckers down. Yeah, like there were these defensive towers there. I was just like, I seem to remember that I saw something that you could take these down. So I just start shooting, like lobbing fireballs at them and jumping in the air and doing like the punch in the ground thing, and those towers just start falling down, and I'm like, this is awesome. Like, just the ridiculous amount of stuff that was getting destroyed, and it would stay in the scenery for quite a decent amount of time. Like, it wouldn't just disappear after you smashed it. It would stay there for a decent amount of time. So that was cool too. I also noticed that there were some of the enemies also have special powers. So maybe some conduit-like enemies that have switched over to the other side. Like, they would do these crazy jumps, and they would either leave some form of ash or rock or something like that. They would have, some of them would have special powers. I'm not so sure what the story is behind that. Some of them would be able to like form shields. There was this guy which was like chock full of these conduit-like shields, and then he would have a minigun shooting at you. That was cool too. There was a mechanic in the game that there were cameras that detected you, and even though that didn't really matter all that much for the demo, there's probably going to be sections in the game where you're going to have to destroying cameras if you want to stay stealthy and that kind of stuff. They also make use of the controller speaker, like for instance, whenever you are draining smoke or neon, your character will do something like this, like, grabbing power from whatever you're absorbing power from, and you will hear the sound effect coming off from the controller speaker to kind of give you a little bit of immersion. Now, a lot of people, when the speaker was revealed, a lot of people told me, who cares about the speaker in the controller? And I always said that, like, I think that the speaker in the controller is a really neat feature that I think that a lot of people are going to be surprised. And I think that if this is obviously, though, for people that are playing like on a living room setup, like when you're actually listening through speakers and that, because if you're listening through headphones, obviously, which is actually my case, but if you're listening through headphones, that experience isn't going to be as immersive because you're not going to get the effects from the speakers in the controller. But if you do get the speakers in the controller effect kind of thing, I think it's pretty neat. Also, when the screen goes gray, like and your character's about to die and all that, there's like a heartbeat sound that starts going off, like doo, 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 like a character's dying, kind of giving you that sense of emergency. And then there was something which is what I would think is probably one of the worst things that I've experienced in the demo, which is the touch controls. I didn't like them. I did not care for any of the touchpad stuff, to be able to be honest. Like, I like when they implement some cool things in the touchpad and whatnot. Like, I can get behind the touchpad, but for the stuff that we were doing in inFamous, I didn't think that the touchpad should be necessary. And as a matter of fact, it became really awkward in some situations. Like, I actually struggled, me and the other news reporters that were there when we got to a certain section of the game where you have to use the touchpad to lift this thing off a van and then destroy it, and you have to like hold it in place. And basically we all kind of messed up at that at first, which is kind of a good indication that that mechanic is not looking to be ideal. It kind of gave me the same vibe that I got from Uncharted Golden Abyss in the PlayStation Vita, if you guys remember that, where it had like all these features tacked on just for the purpose of having them. Like, oh, tilt your Vita left and right. Oh, press here, slash here, do this. You know, it's like I like the fact that there's touch controls. I would like if there would be, you know, optional stuff like that, or maybe for specific things that are easier to do. I didn't like the implementation that they had on that demo. But apart from that, the demo was pretty solid. I'm really, really excited about the game. I can't wait to actually play it by myself at home where nobody's watching so that I can do all kinds of crazy stuff. But yeah, I can't wait to get my hands on it. It's shaping up to be pretty decent. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section below. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.